Hello, everyone. So great to have the opportunity to talk with you guys again, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we connect them with professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a special guest, Miss Cherie Beasley. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm great, Roderick. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. We definitely appreciate you coming by and sharing with us today. She is a independent consultant with Pampered Chef. That's correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Excellent. And knowing that time is one of our most valuable resources, we'll go ahead and start jumping into things. Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
So I'm originally from New Orleans.
Okay, nice.
I grew up on the West Bank, and I lived there till I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished high school in a small town in Northwest Tennessee.
Northwest Tennessee. Now, that is interesting to know. Did you know that I lived on the West Bank also for 6 years?
No, what part did you live? Where did you live?
Originally, when I left Haverty's, I was still with Haverty's, I moved to Slidell.
Okay.
And I worked at Baton Rouge store.
Okay.
And then I moved down to Harvey.
That's where I grew up.
When you said that, I said, oh my goodness, we got that in common already. I lived in Harvey.
Okay.
And I lived in Harvey during the storm.
Okay.
And you know how the West, right there on the bank, and I didn't receive water, but I did have my roof blew off. I had it detached. And
Harvey didn't have as much damage.
It wasn't bad. It was just wind related. Still couldn't get there after the storm.
Yeah.
But I stayed there, and then after the storm, I had that home rebuilt. And then I moved, and I lived in Algiers Point for about 4 years. It's so crazy.
That's really crazy.
That's awesome.
I grew up in Woodmere subdivision.
Okay, nice.
Right there.
Nice.
And then my grandparents lived in Algiers, almost at Algiers Point.
Okay.
So I traveled the Palco Boulevard quite a lot.
Nice. Yeah, I was on I worked in the building right off General de Gaulle. It was so awesome. Well, look at there.
I did not know that.
You just never know.
So
cool. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you moved to Tennessee. That was a little bit of a difference, I'm sure.
I was a very upset 16-year-old.
I can understand.
Yeah.
I can understand. So then from there, did you go a traditional route going to school? Did you jump into the workforce? Tell us about it.
I did. I'm kind of a super nerd.
Okay.
Most people don't know that about me.
Okay.
So I actually love to learn. I watch podcasts and listen to things all the time, and I'm always looking for connections of things.
Okay.
Because there's always you go out there and you look for like health news or cookware news or the best credit card processing. It could be anything. And there's always diametrically opposed opinions.
Okay.
And so I see that people struggle with determining what's right for them. And so I've always been really interested that way. So I actually went to a traditional 4-year school.
Okay.
I went to Maryville College in a small town outside of Knoxville.
Okay.
It's not so small anymore.
Okay, good.
But I wanted to go back home for school, but my mom twisted my arm and said just stay in the state.
Stick around.
So I went the furthest I could. The only school that was further away was ETSU.
Okay,
so
okay.
I went about as far away as I could from where she was, but I was still in the state.
In the state, yes. You complied.
I did.
You just went far away. What did you study while you were there?
English.
Okay, nice.
I have an English major and a Spanish minor.
Okay.
And my plan was to go to law school.
Okay.
And after all the schooling and being top academics for years, I just was done.
Okay.
And
okay.
I said, no, I don't want to. And
Nice.
I was working retail at a Bath and Body Works store, and a manager job came open, and I love people. So I was like, sure, I'll do that.
Okay. Well, cool. Now, I want to ask about the Spanish. Do you still practice? You still speak it, or you lost it, or what you got?
Yo hablo un poquito.
Oh, my goodness. She's going to learn me something. So I need to go ahead and sign up for your classes so you can teach me.
Oh, I don't know if I can teach the Spanish.
Come on now, because I got Duo in there.
I can refer you.
And well, either way, it is a skill that I want to acquire because each year I try to stack a skill.
Yeah.
And I've always said I wanted to do Spanish, but now that I know how professional, then I'll go ahead and work on that. So I want to definitely learn. So that'll just be
I'd start probably with like Duolingo. Also, something that's really fun is if you go and if you wanted to do volunteer stuff, find a local church or something that teaches ESL classes.
Okay.
And then they can practice English with you.
Okay.
And then they can teach you Spanish.
Awesome. So you said you're at Bath and Body Works. And how did the journey go from there?
It was good. I was doing really great. I didn't like the retail hours though.
Okay.
And then my husband was also working retail hours. And we got pregnant.
Okay.
And so I didn't want to work retail hours. So I spent my entire maternity leave looking for a different job. And the day I went back to talk to my district manager to go back, I thought I was going to be stuck going back. I had gotten a job offer that morning.
Oh, nice.
To do, to work for a staffing company doing staffing light industrial workers.
Okay. So it was the hours. What functionality did you provide there? What services did you have to do for the staffing company?
I just help people find jobs.
Okay.
So light industrial workers are usually more short-term fill-in type stuff for manufacturers. And I worked in all kinds of different plants, automotive plants, paper plants, et cetera, where I'd go and like check out the job site, make sure my employees were taken care of, that sort of thing. A lot of times they just worked temp and then they were able to be hired on.
Okay.
So it was really nice to work with people and help them matriculate from where they were to where they might want to go.
Okay, sounds like helping people has been a theme so far, helping them retail-wise, helping them to make sure they have good employment. Were you there before Pampered, or were there some stops in between?
No, I was there before Pampered Chef. I actually decided before we got pregnant with my daughter, I had decided I didn't really want to work for a little while. I wanted to stay home with my kids. And so I didn't really know what that looked like. I just knew that's what I wanted to do. So once I made that decision, we started living on one income, and I just saved my salary before I had my daughter. And then I quit about 2 months before I had my daughter, so I'd spend a little time with my son. Okay. And then I had my daughter, and then I was a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years. Okay. And I actually ended up getting pretty sick and had to have some surgery. And so that was really hard because I was in the best shape of my life and was still in a lot of pain and had to fix some things. And shortly after that, the kids were a little bit bigger at that point. You know, Rowan was starting school. Marin was kind of a toddler and doing her own thing. And I was trading clothes one day in a consignment sale line. And this lady had a booth, and it was Pampered Chef. I'd never heard of Pampered Chef before. I didn't even know what it was. And she was nicely talking to us and just said, "Hey, did you find any really great deals? Like, I get to shop later," talking like you and I are. And these two ladies behind me, like, folded their arms and got all fussy and turned their back on her. And I was so upset. And I said, so I kept talking to her. And when they turned their back on her, she had said, "Hey, I'm doing a drawing. I thought you guys just might want to know." And that was all she said. So I filled out her drawing slip. And while at Bath & Body Works for years, I had been recruited by direct selling companies. And I couldn't really wrap my head around it. So when this opportunity presented itself, I thought, I've got some time. I'll find out what this thing is all about and see if, what direct sales is. Because I have some more time to kind of figure out what that is.
Yes, I understand it's direct sales, but tell us about Pampered Chef. What is it that you do? What do you provide? What services or products do you provide?
So our founder was very much all about helping people put dinner on the table faster so they could spend more time with their families. So our whole focus is, how can I give you the skills and a couple of really cool tools to help you get around the table with your family more often? Because statistically, we've seen that families that eat together, there's less drug use in the children. There's a more cohesive family. There's less depression and anxiety and all of those kinds of things. Just sharing a meal together a few times a week. It doesn't even have to be every day. So even in our crazy schedules, it's really important to do that. And so that's Doris's mission. So she actually didn't even want to use the direct sales model for a really long time for that reason. So that is our goal. So what I teach is taking you from where you are to where you want to go. So some of my customers are like, I'm in the drive-through and I think that that's working, but my doctor says it's not. And so I like to help people see that 20 minutes that you spent in the drive-through that didn't feel like 20 minutes because you were scrolling on your phone. You could have put a really great meal together at home with a few simple ingredients that your kids will eat, that your family will love, and have minimal cleanup.
Now, I am confident you were a fantabulous chef before this, but since you've been with Pampered Chef, you said it's 11 years?
Yeah, 11
years now. What would you say is the meal that makes you the most excited to make?
Oh, Roderick, that's a really hard
so
question.
Many. I hate that, so I know it's a lot.
I like the simple stuff. I think I do a lot of what I call a deconstructed dinner. And what that means is like, if you're having chicken tacos and one of your kids doesn't like refried beans, refried beans is on the stove.
Okay.
but they don't have to eat them.
Oh, I see what you're
So
saying.
they can kind of make their own tacos. So I do a lot of like buffet oriented type stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't know if I really have a favorite thing. I really like to create things.
Okay.
So I don't really have a favorite thing. And actually, I'm an anomaly
Okay.
to most people who start a pampered chef business because I actually did cook beforehand. Most people who start a pampered chef business don't cook beforehand, and they start this business so they can learn to cook.
But I'm saying you're from the West Bank. You had to be. I already knew that in my mind. I already knew there was no way that you couldn't. That's why I said
I can make a roux.
Yeah. All right. So
And I'll teach you if you want to learn how.
I'm always open to learn more.
Yeah.
I can't say I am a master chef myself, but I can always add to the pot. So I definitely will take you up on that and how to learn. Now, you may not have a favorite dish, but do you have a favorite utensil that you use from the services that you offer?
Yeah.
Yes. Tell us about it.
So I love, I think my favorite is our cookware.
Okay.
I had owned a whole bunch of different types of cookware before, and there's a lot of misconception about cookware. And I see this in groups all the time on social media where people say, I'm looking for new cookware. And I think the biggest mistake we make is that we're looking for new cookware instead of paying attention to how we're already using what we have.
Okay.
So when you get new cookware, you have to have new skill. So some people say, I want non-toxic cookware. I saw this morning, actually. And I said, okay, what do you mean by non-toxic? Because if you do your research, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can use cookware that'll actually make it just as toxic as if you have something that has like a specific nonstick coating on it.
Okay. Oh, the nonstick coating is.
So a lot of people stay away from nonstick coating because they think that that's bad. Actually, in the research, it's not the nonstick coating. It's overheating the nonstick coating that's causing the issue. Okay. And you'll find the same thing if you use cast iron. You'll find the same thing if you use stainless steel and you use olive oil at a too high of a temperature. You'll still see some of the toxicity there. So what's interesting is that it turns out it has more to do with what your skill level is and your knowledge about things than it does the actual piece of equipment.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. You obviously have a ton of knowledge on how to prepare those meals and provide others with the tools that they need to create that family time, help with all those family type goals. I want to talk a little bit more about some of those skills that you've acquired over time, from the bath, from the previous job, which was that? What was that?
It was called
the staffing agency. And then now all of the time with Pampered Chef. What are some of those skills, or share with the audience one of those skills that you have acquired and nurtured that has helped in the progression of your business?
So in one word, listening.
Yeah.
But listening with intent. So for example, the lady who's asking about the nonstick cookware, she really just wants to give her an answer. My answer is going to be really incomplete if I don't understand a lot more about how she orients in her kitchen already. It was the same thing with the staffing company. Somebody would come in and want to get a job. And yes, their end goal is to get a job. But, excuse me, they also have a whole bunch of other parameters that they're trying to fill in their life too. So helping people take a moment to be still, to really think about holistically what they want, and then listening to those things, and then offering suggestions that might work, and being and staying open to the fact that my first several suggestions might not work for them. I think a lot of times in sales, this is where people mess up.
Yes.
Because listening is really the key component, and listening with an intent to understand, not with intent to solve.
Yes. In my experience, I've found the same thing. It's a lot of those times where people in our industry have a pre-made idea already before I even talk to you to find out how you're accepting the payments of what I'm going to pitch to you, where if I just take the time to listen and find out what you're trying to do, I have the solutions. I'll just provide that for you from that particular point. The audience is listening because the purpose of the podcast is to share with those entrepreneurs that have stepped off of the curb, gotten started, but may have gotten stuck in some particular time, place, and they utilize this as a how-to type guide. Do you have an experience outside of the young lady with the toxicity that you can share with us where listening came into play and you were able to move forward with that opportunity for sale?
Yeah, actually, and this is actually a little bit more personal, not necessarily just customer oriented. So about 6 or 7 years ago, I was really stuck in my business. And, as an entrepreneur, there's these waves, right? Like you ride the crazy waves. And there's this huge cycle where you get excited and you're re-energized, and then it doesn't go the way you plan. And you want to jump off the ship or burn the ship down, right? Like,
yes.
I mean, I've almost burned it down several times.
Yes.
So I found something about 6 years ago. Hal Elrod, if you're not familiar with him, he does the 60-minute morning. And I was introduced to that through a training. And I was like, I don't have 60 minutes. I'm busy. I have small children. I'm trying to run this business. My husband travels all the time. Like, I do not have time for this. And then I happened to see one of his recordings, and he said, you can do this in 6 minutes. And I was like, oh, I can do 6 minutes.
I got 6.
So I started doing a 6-minute morning, and I followed his thing, and I can give you guys the link. So if you want to post it at the bottom of the podcast.
Yeah, we'll add it.
So I started doing that, and I saw such an impact in the first 2 weeks of doing the 6-minute morning that I moved myself to a 15-minute morning. And then I moved myself to the full hour.
Okay.
Gradually over the course of like 4 months. And now I spend 2 hours every morning kind of recentering myself. And so what that is that's me listening to myself.
Okay.
Because there's so much input that's coming to you of, you need to do it this way, you need to do it this way. And then it contradicts each other. And so then you get into this state of anxiety and overwhelm that you do just want to burn the ship. And what's really interesting that I found is that the answers are all inside of you. What motivated you to start your business, what keeps you going when it's good, all of those things, you have all of the answers. And I think spending that time with yourself to remember, that is the game changer.
That's the changer. Now, you guys pay attention to what she said. Not only are you listening to your opportunities, you have to listen to yourself. So just pay attention. Make some time for yourself. Sounds like some motivation. Meditation is inside of that time, reflecting on where you are. We'll definitely add that to the podcast link so you can click on that.
Yeah, his 6-minute morning is very prescriptive. There's 6 things that you do over the course of the hour.
Okay. Definitely going to put that in there for you guys to check it out. Now, tell us a little bit about what the future of your business looks like. Is it where you are trying to have agents under you? You just want to keep it where it is? Tell us a little bit what the future looks like.
So actually I do. I have a team that's downline for me. I have 6 directors. So what that, I'm all gargly.
It's okay. I'll fill in the time for you until you get it right.
I have, I think, 6 directors. And so what that means is the way that Pamper Chef is set up is very like any other retail. So, you start your business, you have your customers, that's your store. And then a bunch of people get together. And then like as I hire as I bring other people in, they develop their own store, and then they're downline from me.
Okay.
And then my job is to help mentor them and help guide them so that they can get what they want from their business. And then it goes on from there. So I have 6 directors, which means that they each have a team of at least 5 to 10 people downline from them that they're helping. And so I lead them. So my goal is to continue to grow in that space and continue to help inspire and influence people to do this. It's challenging, just like owning any other business. And I think sometimes we don't appreciate that.
Get it. I get it.
But that's where my goal is. And my real big goal is to continue to adopt technology. Because when I started my business 11 years ago, we weren't on social media. We weren't allowed to be. And we were doing in-home parties. So we were very much in our own backyard. And so things really opened up a little bit before COVID, and then continued after that. And so really adapting the technology to what we do is fantastic. And so I was actually part of a task force, a 12-person field task force that helped build our award-winning online party platform.
Nice.
So it's called Table. It's really fantastic.
Okay.
It's still growing.
Check it out, guys.
But it's an experience so that people can get on because they're busy and find solutions for themselves really quickly. And then there's also a space to connect.
Okay.
So my goal is to continue to do that. And my customer base is really the younger crowd. And so as I'm aging older, it's really interesting for me to, remember and talk to the people who are a lot younger than me, who might want different things from their cookware, which is why it's really important for me to continue to listen.
Okay, awesome. And just as a side note, you're not getting older, you're getting more experience at life. We'll definitely do that. Now, talking about life, we want people to understand that it is great to have a good work-life balance. So let's just say that all of your downlines, now they have 50 under them, and all of those things are going forward, and you could take some time for yourself, removing the pamper shelf and helping people. What is it that you would do? Would you knit, travel? Tell us a little bit about yourself, the human.
Yeah, so so I'm actually in the process of writing a book.
All right. Okay.
So I would have more time to finish that. And I really like just spending time and listening to people.
Okay.
So whether that ends up being counseling or a coach of some sort or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is this a sci-fi romantic novel? Or what type of book are you thinking?
No, actually, my dear friend Gabe dared me to write this book because we had a conversation one day, and I said, you know what I really wish, Gabe? I really wish that we could all just embrace the cattywampus of life and recognize that, as expert as we are in so many things, that we're not really an expert in everything, and to leave space to listen and for other people to grow as much as we expect people to let us grow.
Okay.
And so then he emailed me and dared me to write this book.
Okay. Well, good. I'm sure it's going to be a success. Listening at your story, there's been a lot of experiences that you had, and one thing that has been consistent is you are compassionate about others, hearing about how you can help them in all facets of everything that you've done so far. So I'm guaranteed that that's going to be a success. Talking about the people, if they wanted to get in contact with you to set up a time to talk, to learn more about Pampered Chef, share with the audience the best ways for them to contact you.
So I actually have a couple different ways. I'll leave you guys a link that is an About Me link that has your preference, because we all have preferences, right? So I am on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Your Kitchen Sage. And then I'm the same thing on Instagram. And then Cherie Beasley on Facebook. Okay. And so I'll put that link, and my phone number is actually on there too. So you can actually just text me or give me a call and ask me questions. One of my favorite things is I do have time set aside kind of right before dinner time because my kids are older. So I kind of have an open line. Okay. For people to text or call me between 5 and 6 if they're getting dinner together. Okay. Or they have that panic moment at 4, right? Like, what's for dinner?
What's happening? What am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do today.
So my favorite thing is my friend Naomi actually did this. She had ingredients, and she'd had a really rough day, and she's like, what can I make with this? And I was able to send her a few recipes right away. So awesome. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Look at that. Openness to help. Like I said, it's one of those great things, and we truly do appreciate it. And one thing that I do appreciate is you said that you had a gift for me.
I do.
What do you got? Let's share it with everybody.
So anytime you have a meeting with me, you always get a present. Yes. So I always bring a catalog because I never know what you're going to be most interested in. And this is a great talking point. Okay. So you get to go through it and kind of decide, hey, Cherie, this is what I want to know more about. Yes. But I think life is all about flavor. And being from New Orleans, I'm all about flavor.
Yes.
So I brought you some scampi mix.
Okay,
but
nice.
What's really interesting is there's directions on the back. Okay. But one of my favorite things to do is to do a lazy dinner. So you do a sheet pan meal. You chop up your favorite meat, pick it. I don't care, chicken, pork, whatever. Chop up your favorite vegetables. Toss this with a little bit of butter and the scampi mix. Lay it on a sheet pan at 350 in the oven until it's done. Okay. Easy peasy dinner.
Instant recipe. She is dropping jewels today. She's dropping jewels. So thank you so much for that. I definitely will take that and make that. And one of the things that I always do for my guest is I leave them with the last word. So hopefully you took a couple minutes and put something together for us, but I'm going to give you the floor.
Oh, last word. Okay. Listen to yourself. You know what you need. You know what you want. Take other people's opinions and then put that up against what your goals are and where you're going. And the answers will always come to the surface, especially if you leave space and a little bit of time.
All right. Well, check that out. We definitely appreciate you coming by today. If we can be of assistance in any way, please let us know. And we appreciate you helping out the audience today. So
all right,
thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. You guys have a great day, and we will talk with you soon. Thanks.
Okay.